Hello everyone. So welcome to my YouTube channel Tech with Divas. So in my last two sessions, I have discussed about the WOFI architecture, the challenges faced while introducing WOFI architecture, what are the problems faced, what are the advantages of WOFI architecture. Then in the second session, I discussed about the interfaces and protocol. I think that now we are ready to go ahead with the call flows. All right, let's begin. So in the first part of the call flows, we have to understand some selection processes. So first of all, the first node which we have to select is the EPDG. So first process is the EPDG selection process. Which node will select the EPDG? So it is the UE which has to select the EPDG. So how the UE will select? So there is one more node here which is not visible, which is the DNS. So UE has to construct a FQDN and then perform a DNS query to resolve an address, which is the EPDG address. That response might contain one or more IP addresses. It could be in IPv4 or IPv6 format. So UE selects an address in the same format. Then the second selection process is the AAA selection process. So now the UE has selected the EPDG. Now the EPDG needs to select a AAA. So generally how it is done is that EPDG is provisioned with a pair of 3GPP AAA IP addresses. So this is for the redundancy purpose. We have configured two IP addresses in the EPDG, one for primary link and second for the secondary link. So and this interface is a diameter interface, hence we have to monitor that these links are not going down. So we have a diameter watchdog process for that. Then the third selection process is the P gateway selection process. So which node will select the P gateway? Obviously the EPDG, because the EPDG is connected to the P gateway as shown in the architecture slides. uh, So how will the EPDG select the P gateway? So EPDG selects the P gateway on the basis of the APN name. So there is one entity called the APN, access point name. So on the basis of that APN and FQDN is constructed. So the format of that FQDN is APN, not network identifier, dot apn.epc.mnc.mcc.3gpp.network.org. So this is the format. So after making this FQDN, the EPDG will have to select the P gateway. So how it will select? It will perform a DNS query, and the name of that query is the SNAPTR query. SNAPTR query stands for straightforward naming authority pointer query. So on the basis of this query, it gets a P gateway. So how the process is going on? Basically, at the first query will result in the records. So first the NAPTR query will result in three records. So but these three records will be having different service parameters. So for example, the three records will be like X3GPP, P gateway, X S2A PMIP. So first service is the PMIP service. The second service could be the GTP service, like the X3GPP P gateway, X S5 GTP, and the third service could be the X3GPP P gateway, X S2B GTP. So basically these three services are for three different interfaces. First interface could be on the PMIP, second could be on the S5 GTP, and second could be the third could be the S2B GTP. So but here, since we are using the Wi-Fi, the S5 interface is used for the LTE. Here we have to select the interface for Wi-Fi. So that's why we need the S2B service. So EPTG will then perform a DNS AAA query, AAA query that will replace the string matching service parameters. So now we have to query the address of the S2B interface. So finally, now we have the address of the S2B interface of the P gateway. So this is how the EPTG selection process, EPTG this is how various selection processes are happening: the EPTG selection process, AAA selection process, and the P gateway selection process. So now we know the selection processes. So after the selection processes, just reviewing about the control plane protocols that are used in the voice over Wi-Fi. So the first interface was the UE and EPDG. The control plane protocol that is used in this interface is the IKE version 2, Internet Key Exchange Protocol version 2. The second interface is the EPDG and P gateway. In that interface, GTPC protocol is used. The third interface is the EPDG and AAA or HSS. So between EPDG and AAA and HSS, the protocol which is used is the diameter protocol. So this is about the protocols in the control plane. Just to revise about the protocols. So the first call flow is the EPDG selection call flow. In the EPDG selection call flow, first of all, the UE has to select an access point. Access point is the first point of access to the Wi-Fi network. So it uh, it accesses the access point using the associate request and response. Then the access points allocate an IP address to the UE through the DHCP. So now UE has as having the IP address. Then the UE performs a WISPR authentication. So after doing this WISPR authentication, now the UE has to select EPDG. But for selecting the EPDG, it has to first have the IP of the EPDG. So for that purpose, UE creates an FQDN for the EPDG query. So the format of this FQDN is the EPDG name dot the EPC dot MNC dot MCC dot public dot 3GPP network dot org. And this DNS query is a recursive DNS query. So at the first time we do not get the IP, we get another host name. Now using these host names we do another DNS query. After this query we get certain IP addresses. So UE receives certain IP addresses. Then UE now the UE has the IP addresses of the EPDG. Now the UE can perform a IKESA init request for making the IPsec tunnel. IKEv2 SA init request and then IKEv2 SA init response comes back to the UE. So this is the EPDG selection call flow. Okay, so now the next call flow which is there is the initial attach call flow. So in the initial attach call flow, the first thing is the EPDG selection, UE authentication and EPDG selection, which I discussed in the last slide. So once the UE authentication and EPDG selection is done, we can start with the attach call flow. So here, the first thing is that we have to set up a IPsec tunnel between the UE and EPDG. For that, we have the message which is the IKEv2 SA init message and IKEv2 SA init response. So these are the two messages through which the IPsec tunnel is set up. Now the IPsec tunnel is set up. Now we have to send a kind of attach request to the EPDG. So here we don't have a message called the attach request like in the LT attach. Here we are using the IKV2 protocol, and IKV2 protocol is having two messages, IKV2 SA init and IKV2 auth request. So we are using the second eq2 message, which is the eq2 auth request. So it is kind of a attach request. So eq2 auth request goes from UE to the EPDG. Now the EPDG sends a DER message to the AAA, which is the diameter EAP request. Now the AAA has to fetch some authentication vectors from the HSS using the MAR message. So AAA sends the MAR message to the HSS. HSS sends back the MAA message. At this point, the AAA has to challenge the UE for getting the authentication vectors from the UE. So now the AAA challenges the UE using the DEA message, and then finally this challenge goes up to the UE using the IKV2 auth response message. Now the UE here is the now the UE here can authenticate the network. So like in the LT, so UE AUTN is matched with the AUTN coming from the HSS, which is an authentication vector that we have received from the HSS. So at this point, the AUTN UE is equal to the AUTN coming from the HSS, and we can say that the network is an authentic network. But now still our UE needs to be authenticated by the network. So for that purpose, UE is sending a response by using certain algorithms. It is calculating a response which is the RES, and it is sending back that response in the IKv2 auth request message. So now it reaches the EPDG. Now the EPDG forwards this particular authentication vector which is received from the UE to the AAA through the DER message. So now the AAA is having this RES. Now the AAA can match the RES with the XRES that is received in the MAA message from the HSS. So if this XRES matches the RES, then we can say that the UE is authentic. So at this point, we can say the authentication process is complete. Now we have to fetch the subscriber profile from the HSS to in order to create the session. So for that particular purpose, we are sending a SAR message to the HSS, and HSS responds back with the SAA message. So now the AAA is having the subscriber profile, and it sends it to the EPDG using the DEA message. So now the EPDG sends a eq2 auth response message, and then again the UE sends back the eq2 auth request message. So now the EPDG is having all the parameters to create a session. So the EPDG sends a create session request to the P gateway. Now the P gateway has to update its location to the AAA. So it sends a AAR message, which is basically a update location message to the AAA. Now the AAA sends a SAR message to the HSS. This SAR message is a server assignment request with assignment server assignment request type as P gateway update. So it sends this message. It is again a kind of location update message to update the location of the P gateway to the HSS. Now the HSS responds back with the SAA message. Now with the diameter success code, and similarly the AAA responds back to the P gateway with a message with the diameter success code. Now the P gateway has to update the PCRF and the charging entities like the OFCS and OCS. So it sends a CCR message to update the PCRF, and then a CCA message comes back from the PCRF, and then a CCR message is again sent to the OCS for updating the charging parameters, and the CCA comes back from the OCS. Now the P gateway sends a create session response message back to the EPDG, and at this point the session is set up, and now the last message is sent from EPDG to UE, which is a kind of a attach accept message. But here between EPDG and UE, as I explained, we are using the ICV2 protocol, and hence the message which we are sending over here is the ICV2 version 2 auth response message, which is kind of a attach accept message. And then finally the EPDG sends the router advertisement, and at this stage we can say that our WOFI attach is over. So after the WOFI attach, we have to do the WOFI call setup. So for this thing, what we have to do is we have to send a SIP re-invite message towards the PCSCF. Uh, there could be a possibility that the voice call is initially on the LTE dedicated bearer. Voice calls is generally on the LTE dedicated bearer. So, and we are moving towards the voice over Wi-Fi. So first we need to attach, and then we need to set up a WOFI call. So for setting up a WOFI call, we have a message called the SIP re-invite. So SIP re-invite is sent from UE to the PCSCF. Then PCSCF sends the SIP re-invite to the TAS. Now TAS has to update the OCS in order to perform certain charging, if any charging is required. For that we have some RO call control procedures. So RO is the interface between the OCS and TAS. Then the TAS initiates the peer callback with the B party UE. We can summarize this as peer UE procedures over here. And then the TAS sends a 200 OK back to the PCSCF. Now the PCSCF sends a AAR to the PCRF for basically creating a dedicated bearer. So for just completing this call flow, we have a RAR message towards the P gateway, then RA towards the RA comes back from P gateway to the PCRF, and similarly the AA goes back to the PCSCF. The PCSCF finally sends the 200 OK to the UE, and then P gateway also has to update the OCS for some charging that needs to be done. For that we have the CCR and CCA message, and now we are ready to create a dedicated bearer. So now the P gateway can create a dedicated bearer with the EPDG, and for this purpose P gateway is sending a create bearer request to the EPDG. EPDG sends a create bearer response back to the P gateway. At this point we have set up a dedicated bearer, and we can say that our ongoing voice call is now on WLAN dedicated bearer rather than the LTE dedicated bearer. So this is the call flow for call setup. So the next call flow in this session is the VoLTE to WOFI handover call flow. So I have already discussed the two call flows, which are the WOFI attach and then WOFI call setup. So now the next call flow is the VoLTE to WOFI handover. So VoLTE to WOFI handover means that the call initially is in VoLTE and now we have to transfer that call to the WOFI. So for that particular purpose, we have to do a handover. So initially our call is in VoLTE. So VoLTE call is basically set up using three bearers. First one is from the UE to the S gateway. Then we have the bearer from S gateway to P gateway, and then we have the bearer from the P gateway to the internet, which is our external internet. So these three bearers are there. We have to set up the bearer in the voice over Wi-Fi network and then we can transfer the call basically. So let's go through the process. So at first the UE has reached the Wi-Fi network and there is a access point that UE has been attached to. So the first thing which the UE will do is perform certain authentication, which is the Wi-Fi authentication. We call it the WISPR authentication, and then it selects the EPDG. So it selects EPDG using a process which is the EPDG selection process. That is a complete call flow which I have discussed in the previous slides. Now once this process is complete, we have to set up a secure channel in order to send our parameters, in order to send certain UE parameters. So in this particular call flow, I will go into the details of the messages and I will also discuss about certain the major information elements that are present inside the messages. So the first message is the eq2 SA init and SA init response. So these two messages are exchanged to set up a secure channel so that we can send the information encrypted between the UE and the EPGG. So after setting up this channel, we can send our information in the eq2 auth request message. So this the main information elements present in this auth request message is the user ID. User ID is basically the MC and the format which we are using is the MC@realm. Then the second major information element is the APN name, which is the APN that has been configured in the UE. Third information element is the IP that has been allocated to the UE by the Wi-Fi. Now, after this message reaches the EPDG, the EPDG sends a DER message towards the AAA. DER stands for diameter EAP request. So EAP is the extensible authentication protocol. So this major information elements present inside this message are the MC@realm and then the RAT type, which is the WLAN. So that type here is the WLAN. Then we have a service selection information element which consists of the APN name. Uh, Now this information reaches the AAA. AAA now has to send the MAR message to the HSS. So MAR message reaches the HSS, and the major information elements inside the MAR message is the MC username, which consists of the MC, and the RAT type, which consists of the WLAN. Now the HSS has to send the authentication vectors in the MAA message. So MAA message, the major information elements are the username, which is the MC. Then we have the information elements, which is the first information element is the SIP authentication scheme, which is the authentication scheme that requires to be used for the authentication. So here the mostly the authentication scheme which is used is the EAP-AKA, which is the authentication and key agreement. Then the next information element is the SIP authenticate, which consists of the authentication vectors like the AUTN and random number. Then the next information element is the SIP authorization, which consists of another authentication vector, which is the XRES. The last two information elements, main information elements, are the CK and IK, which is the confidentiality key and the integrity key. All these information is sent from HSS to the AAA. Now the AAA is having these authentication vectors, but nothing it has from the UE to authenticate. So it has to challenge the UE basically in order to fetch the authentication vectors from the UE. So this challenge is sent from AAA to the EPDG using the DEA message. Now this challenge is forwarded from EPDG to the UE using the EQ2 auth response message. So inside the informational element, which is the EAP payload, we call it the EAP request or the AKA challenge. Now, once the challenge reaches the UE, first thing the UE does is it runs the AKA algorithms. So AKA algorithms are the algorithms which are used to generate a RES. So, and one more thing which UE does here is the verification of the network. So AUTN, one authentication vector which is coming from the network is the AUTN. So AUTN, UE verifies this AUTN with the network AUTN, and if these AUTNs are matching, then we can say that the network is an authentic network, and the UE generates the RES by running the AKA algorithm. So this RES now is sent to the uh, EPDG using the ICV2 auth response message. So ICV2 auth request message. So ICV2 auth request message sends this RES and the AK challenge EAP payload. So the main information elements in this message are the user ID, which is MC, and then we have the EAP payload, which is the EAP response, which consists of all these authentication vectors like the RES. It reaches the EPDG. It reaches the EPDG. EPDG forwards these vectors to the AAA. So the main information elements are the username, which is the MC@relum, then the VAT type, which is WLAN, then service selection, which consists of the APN name, and then the EAP response, which consists of our authentication vectors, which reach the AAA. Now AAA verifies here that whether the RES received from the UE is equal to the XRES that has been received from the HSS from in the MAA message. So now if this verification is done, we can say that our UE is the authentic UE. So here the UE is network has authenticated the UE at the AAA server. Now the AAA server sends the SAR message to the HSS. So in the this SAR message, the server assignment type is set as registration, and the RAT type is set as WLAN. So this particular message is sent to the HSS to fetch the subscription profile. So subscription profile consists of various information like the subscription ID. In the SAA message, we sent all this information back to the AAA. So the main information elements are the username, which is the MC, which consists of the MC. Then second is the RAT type, which consists of the WLAN. Then we have the subscription ID. Subscription ID consists of the APN configuration. So APN configuration, which consists of the APN name that is configured in the HSS, then the PDN type and various QoS parameters, then the MIP agent info. So all these parameters are sent to the AAA. Now the AAA sends a DEA message to the EPDG. This DEA message consists of username, which is the MC, and also the EAP success. And it also consists of the APN configuration, like the APN name, PDN type, and also the QoS information that what QoS should be allocated to the UE. For setting up a session, we need a QoS basically. So that's why all this information is sent to the EPDG. Now the EPDG responds back to the EQ2 using the EQ2 auth response message to indicate to the UE that authentication is successful, or we can say that EAP is successful. So extensible authentication protocol is successful. So at this point, authentication is successful. The UE knows that the authentication is successful. So now the UE sends back the EQ2 auth request message to the EPDG. Now the EPDG has to select a P gateway. So there was an information element that came from the HSS, which is the MIP v6 agent info. So this information element decides that which P gateway IP the EPDG has to select. So EPDG selects the P gateway IP, and then EPDG once knows the P gateway IP, it can send a create session request to the P gateway. So once this create session request goes to the P gateway, the main information elements in this create session request are the MC, MSISDN, RAT time, APN name, serving network info, then handover indication flag, then we have the PCSCF address request. So these information elements go to the P gateway. Now the P gateway has to update the PCRF for any dynamic policy implementation. So that is done via the GX interface using the CCR message. PCRF responds back with the CCA. Now it has to update the OCS for any charging. So it is via the CCR message, GY CCR message to the OCS, and then CCA, GY CCA to the P gateway. Then the update location request is sent from the update location request is sent on the AAR diameter message on the X6P interface towards the AAA. So which basically the P gateway updates the AAA its address. So the main information elements are the MC username, which is MC, then RAT type, which is WLAN, service selection, which consists of the APN name, then the MIP home agent address, which is our P gateway address basically, which is sent to the AAA. So now the AAA has to fetch the user profile from the HSS. So this is using the SAR message, which is basically a user profile request message over the SWX interface. And the main information elements in this message are the MC, and server assignment type here is the P gateway update. So P gateway update, we are saying server assignment type because the P gateway address need to be updated to the HSS now. That type is WLAN server selection service server selection, which consists of the this information element consists of the APN name, then the MIP home agent address, which consists of the P gateway address, P gateway IP address basically, which is sent to the HSS. So now the HSS sends back the update profile response message or the SAA message in which that means the location has been updated or the P gateway update has been done to the HSS, and the diameter success result code comes in the SAA message. Now the AAA sends a update location answer back to the P gateway as success, and this message is sent in the AAA message, which is the authentication. And so this is the diameter message, authentication, and auth. So two messages are there. AAR is the first, authentication authorization request, and authentication authorization acknowledgement. So this is the diameter message name which is sent back, but the purpose is the update location answer. So this is a bit confusing actually. The diameter message names are different and the purpose is different. So here the diameter message name is authentication authorization acknowledgement, and the purpose of this message is the update location answer. So you need to be a bit careful while checking these messages, that what are the message names and what is the purpose of these messages. So it's a bit confusing actually. So like the SAR message is used for the user profile request, the update location answer message is used as the AAA. So when this message reaches the P gateway, the diameter success result code is received by the P gateway, and we can say that P gateway location has been successfully updated in the AAA and the HSS. Now the create session response is sent from the P gateway to the EPDG. So at this point, our default bearer of the WOFI or WLAN has been created, and the main information elements in this are the MC, MSISDN, control plane, P gateway S2B control plane TID, then the PDN address, which is the PDN address information element, which basically consists of the UE IP address, and then we also have the PCSCF IP address in order to initiate the call. So now we have to create a dedicated bearer in order to set up our call. So this dedicated bearer is created from the P gateway using the create bearer request, and create bearer response comes back to the P gateway. Now the dedicated bearer is set up, and the equito auth response message is sent back to the UE. Then finally we have a router advertisement, and now we can say that our voice call has been shifted to the WLAN. So now the ongoing call is on the WLAN dedicated bearer, and then finally we have to send us the pre-register message to indicate our network that that has been changed. PCSCF that there is a RAT change that has happened. So this is the complete call flow for the VoLTE to WoFi handover. So after the dedicated bearer has been created on the WLAN, now we need to delete the bearer from the LTE side. So for this particular purpose, the P gateway initiates a delete bearer request, and this delete bearer request goes to the S gateway from the P gateway, and the S gateway tells the MME that we have to delete the bearer and all the associated information with this bearer. Now the MME has to release the radio resources, since there was a radio bearer also that was formed from the eNode B up till the UE. So MME has to initiate the or MME has to trigger the release of radio resources. So now after release of radio resources, the MME sends a delete bearer response back to the S gateway, and S gateway sends this delete bearer response back to the P gateway. So at this point, we can say that our handover is now complete, since the bearer has been formed, and also we have deleted the bearer that was previously there for the call going on the LT. Okay, so now we have completed the call flow for VoLTE to WoFi handover. The next call flow is the WoFi to VoLTE handover. So two situations are there, like first when the user is moving from VoLTE to WoFi, and the second is that when the user is moving from WoFi to VoLTE. So when the user is moving from WoFi to VoLTE, then first of all the user has to attach to the LTE network using the attach process. So here in this call flow, we are assuming that the attach process has already happened and the UE is already connected to the LTE for the internet, because it's a simple LTE attach process. And then for the IMS APN Wi-Fi, so for triggering the Wi-Fi handover to the LTE, we have to perform certain process. So we will go through what all that process is. So since the UE is already attached to the VoLTE network through the attach process, but now we have to transfer our call which is flowing through the WoFi to the VoLTE. So for this particular purpose, we have to do a PDN connectivity request with the handover indication flag equal to 1. So this PDN connectivity request will create a PDN connection towards from UE towards the internet. So for this particular purpose, this message is going PDN connectivity request. Then MME sends a create session request towards the S gateway. So here now the information inside this particular message is the MC MS ISDN, and also the RAT type has now changed to the LT. And APN is the here the APN is the IMS APN basically that is coming for the voice call. So now our handover indication flag is also equal to 1. Now the S gateway sends a create session request to the P gateway. Now the P gateway has to update the PCRF for any dynamic policy implementation. So for this particular purpose, we are sending a message on the GX interface, which is the GX CCR, and the GX CCA comes back to the P gateway. Now GY CCR goes to the OCS for charging purpose, and the GY CCA comes back from the OCS to the P gateway. Now the P gateway has to inform the AAA for this particular change that has happened or the session that has been created. So this update location request, which is the diameter AAR message, as already discussed in the last call flow, authorization and authentication request. But the purpose of this message is to update location of the P gateway to the AAA. So here username is going, that type is EPC or LTE, then service selection is the APN name. So in the service selection information element, we have the APN name, which is IMS, and then MIP home agent info, which is the P gateway address. So the P gateway address is getting updated to the AAA. Now the AAA sends a user profile request to the HSS, which is in the SAR diameter message, and the server assignment type is P gateway update. Since we are updating the P gateway address, the HSS acknowledges this particular update with the user profile response through the SAA message. Then the AAA server sends the acknowledgement for the AAR authorization and authorization request with the authentication authorization acknowledgement, which is basically a update location answer towards the P gateway. Then P gateway sends a create session response message back to the S gateway. And in this we have the UEIP address and PDN address and the bearer context. So bearer context contains the QoS information, which is the bearer identity, QoS, and all other parameters which are required for setting up a bearer. This create session response goes back to the MME. Now the MME has to set up a bearer with the eNodeB, and also it has to send back the PDN connectivity accept request that has come from the UE. So MME sends a PDN connectivity accept and also the bearer setup request to the eNodeB. The eNodeB now has to do the RRC reconfig from the UE for setting up a radio connection. So for setting up a radio connection, or we can say for setting up a radio connection for this particular dedicated bearer, then the eNodeB sends a bearer setup response to the MME. All the PDN connectivity complete. The MME has to send a modify bearer request to the S gateway now for updating the tunnel endpoint identifiers of the eNodeB so that S gateway can directly talk to the eNodeB. Then S gateway sends the modify bearer response back to the MME. Then we have to delete the bearer which was present from EPDG to the P gateway. So P gateway sends a delete bearer request to the EPDG. EPDG also has to delete the IK information which was set up for setting up the IPsec tunnel between UE and EPDG. So it deletes the IPsec information using the IKV2 information delete request message. Then EPDG sends a delete bearer response back towards the S gateway, and also the UE acknowledges this information deletion using the IKV2 information delete response message. Then the EPD has to terminate the session from the AAA and the HSS. So for this particular purpose, it is sending a session termination request to the AAA, and AAA sends a user profile request to the HSS, which is inside the SAR message to delete the session, and then user profile response comes back from the HSS with a diameter success cause code, and then the session termination answer goes back to the EPDG with the diameter success cause code. So this completes the voice over Wi-Fi session, which consisted of the voice over Wi-Fi architecture and code flows. And if you have any questions, then please feel free to post them in the comment box. And also please like to my videos and also subscribe to my channel. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.